2014 would produce the most exciting prelude to a centennial celebration imaginable for the Women's Oklahoma Golf Association. A tender 13-year-old named Yu Zhang-son would not only capture the WOGA Girls Junior Championship, but would become the youngest women's state amateur champion in the 100-year history of the organization. Yu Zhang is a very special player of our time who holds the flame to what may become a legendary future brighter than any legend of our past. The Oklahoma Women's Golf Association began in 1915 out of a popular invitational that was hosted by the lady golfers of the Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club. The 24 founding Sooner socialites probably didn't realize the profound impact they'd have on so many women and girls for years to come. That first state amateur championship trophy was a wee bit dainty, but Mrs. A.W. Will of the host Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club proudly took it home. The amateur championship was not conducted during 1918 because of the World War. Across the state, Oklahoma women gave up all outside interests to help the Red Cross. The championship resumed following the war, and it grew in scope and stature. In 1929, thanks to the Morris Plan Company, a new state amateur trophy would become every player's dream, but the reality of only a few. Standing over 4 feet tall and designed by the famous Reed and Barton, the spectacular cup was lined with 24-karat gold and weighed 100 pounds. It is still one of the most prestigious and magnificent trophies in the game of golf.
It's just a really special feeling and moment to put your child in a trophy that you've worked so hard to win and have that picture for the rest of your life.
A group known as the Big Four, Lucy Wallace, Estelle Drennan, Patty Blanton, and Mrs. Holbert Clark, would make their mark on the cup 12 times from the mid-20s to the mid-30s. In the late 1930s, a news star moved onto the scene. Cushing's Pat Grant won 4 state amateurs before putting aside her ambition of becoming a professional golfer to serve our country. Following the war, the lieutenant colonel would capture her 5th title in a row, a record that still stands today. In 1943, the Oklahoma Women's Golf Association disbanded due to the war. In 1946, President-elect Mrs. Merrill Seiler called a meeting at the Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club, and they reorganized. The Women's Oklahoma Golf Association was born. Just 2 years later, WOGA saw a record 215 entrants in the state amateur championship. It even included 23 social entrants. The state amateur was a championship like no other, with many clubs competitively bidding to host the prestigious event. Once the venue was awarded each year, committees were organized and custom uniforms were made for the host WGA. Creative minds would begin working on skits and songs. There were parties for each night of the week, from barbecues to bridge, putting, and pool parties, to registration and presentation teas, and the ever-popular Tuesday night banquet. The schedule was filled with constant entertainment, laughter, and golf.
Oh, the parties were fabulous. That was a reason to go almost. You had you've come to Tulsa, Southern Hills, Oaks. Everybody would have a night that they entertained us. And it was a dinner usually, or a picnic, and they had plays, and it was great fun. I had a great time.
Popular sports writers, such as Wally Wallace and pipe-smoking Tom Lobaugh, would set up shop a few days before the championship. They'd conduct pre-tournament interviews and write numerous stories for the major newspapers in the state. It was always the job of the press committee to make sure the press room was well stocked with adult beverages.
Back in those days was before the computer and all this stuff. When the championship was held, the major newspapers would send their sports writers to the site. And they stayed the entire week. They got there before the tournament started, took a lot of pictures, had them all ready for the press, and sports page would be covered with the women's golf events. I learned pretty soon that the way to get the really best coverage was that you provided a lot of drinks. You had a press room. You stocked it very well with an assortment of spirits. And if you wanted to put a little cheese and crackers in there too, it didn't hurt a thing.
Helicopters carrying broadcast news media would land on the course, and there were even live radio broadcasts. Many women would plan time away from their families during this special week and look forward to reacquainting with old friends from previous state amateur championships. In 1950, WOGA would start a junior girls championship, and the popular Mabel Hotz was the driving force behind its success. Mabel and her committee built the tournament into the most successful junior girls state championship in the country, drawing as many as 170 girls at one time.
Mabel Hotz started it by calling all the clubs and getting, I think she even got a list because this one woman said to my mother at Tulsa, she said, I'm signing my daughter up for a golf clinic here. I don't even know if she wants to play golf, but Mabel has called me 3 times and I can't say no anymore.
On the heels of this strong junior program came an elite group of young women who not only were champions in Mabel's era, but who would go on to define college and professional golf. There was Beth Stone, a native of Muskogee, who won the WOGA State Amateur and WOGA Junior Girls Championship, was runner-up in the U.S. Girls Junior and twice runner-up in the U.S. Women's Open. In 1978, she was elected president of the LPGA. Tulsa's Betsy Cullen would win 2 WOGA State Amateurs and go on to be a 3-time winner on the LPGA Tour. In all, she competed in more than 400 tour events. She's been named as one of the top LPGA teaching pros in the country. 3-time U.S. Women's Open champion Susie Maxwell Burning grew up in Oklahoma City. She won the 1963 WOGA State Amateur Championship, was the 1964 LPGA Rookie of the Year, and won 11 times on tour.
The way she's been putting all week, she probably roll this, and she does. Ooh. So she had a level par round today of 72, the champion, back-to-back victories, going along with her 1968 championship in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Dale Fleming McNamara from Tulsa won 7 state amateur championships. As the University of Tulsa's first head coach, she was a pioneer in women's collegiate golf and was one of the most successful coaches in the history of the game. Her teams won 80 championships, including 4 national championships. She coached 28 All-Americans and 3 individual national champions, including her daughter Melissa.
There's no game, there's no sport like the sport of golf. And if you treat the game with respect and dignity, it will pay you back time and time again. And if you don't, it's going to slap you in the face. It's about living, it's life, it's lessons, it's friendships, it's self-assurance. Oh my goodness, it just, it's wonderful. And everybody that's ever been involved with WOGA and its administration, we just can't thank you enough.
Following the implementation of Title IX, many Oklahoma players used the WOGA State Amateur and Junior Championship as a platform to earn a college golf scholarship. Coach McNamara from TU, Ann Pitts Turner from Oklahoma State, and Joan Blumenthal from the University of Oklahoma might have been state coaches, but they were national pioneers. These 3 would coach many of the early and prominent college players from Division I schools who grew up playing in WOGA tournaments. Early college players Patty McGraw-Coatney, Janice Burba Gibson, Adele Lucan-Pedersen, Melissa McNamara Llewellyn, Sheila Lukenbuhl-Dills, Leanne Hammock-Fairley, and Stacy Promenasud Upton would combine to win 11 WOGA Junior Girls Championships and 18 Women's Oklahoma State Amateur Championships. This group would also win NCAA championships, All-American honors, and earn LPGA Tour cards. In 2001, Ponca City native Patty McGraw Coatney put the finishing touches on her 9th Women's Oklahoma State Amateur Championship, spanning 4 decades of competitive golf. It's a record that most likely will never be beaten.
I've got so many friends that I met when I was 12. It's just great relationships. It really never had to do with the golf. We just got to be buddies. I think that's what WOGA was good for. It was getting a bunch of women together. Golf was there, but we also had great times off the golf course, which I loved that. That was fun.
Players such as Amanda Johnson Therrell, Amber Hensley Duke, LPGA Touring Pro Kendall Dye, and rising star Yu Zhong Song would follow this prestigious group. From 1977 to the turn of the 21st century, several tournaments and championships were added to the growing WOGA schedule. These included the Stroke Play Mid-Am Championship, a Senior Championship, Partnership Tournament, and the WOGA Cup. Today, WOGA conducts 5 championships and 2 tournaments, including one of the finest girls' junior state championships in the country. Since the early 1980s, WOGA has provided course ratings for women in Oklahoma. WOGA also conducts rules education and sends teams to regional and national competitions. In 2013, WOGA reorganized again, this time becoming a 501c3 public charity, allowing it to provide more support and create an even stronger foundation for women's and girls' golf in Oklahoma. With the generous assistance of supporters, WOGA launched a formal scholarship and grants program, awarding scholarships to high school seniors and grants to underfunded Oklahoma girls' high school golf programs. In 2015, WOGA would also begin an LPGA USGA Girls Golf Club in Tulsa as part of a grassroots initiative to help grow the game. The new mission of WOGA far exceeds joining the organization to only play in tournaments. WOGA is now a thriving public charity whose mission is to support, promote, and grow the game of golf for women and girls across Oklahoma.
Golf is not cheap. You got to have a little bit of help here and there. You know, you can give back to somebody coming up and share the passion and share the game with another young girl that might not otherwise have the opportunity or does have the passion and just can't quite get to that next level, or, you know, just give her those avenues to be better.
Parallel to what the great coach Pia Nielsen once wrote in The Metaphor of the Garden, the players are the flowers, and we, the fellow competitors and administrators, are the gardeners. By nourishing the plants with the guiding stars of love, kindness, respect, and honesty, the Women's Oklahoma Golf Association will enjoy beautiful and plentiful flowers throughout our great land of Oklahoma for generations to come.